Hey y'all, it's your favorite black ass cousin, and you already know it's another Monday, so it's another podcast. What's up, y'all? I hope everybody is doing wonderful. This is the beginning of the month. We are starting a new month. We've reached now March in 2021. Hallelujah, we have made it.
Hello.
But y'all already know the vibes when we're coming on the Monday, we're coming with a new episode. So we also have a new cousin. So I'm so excited for y'all to meet her. She is a fellow podcaster. So you already know the vibes. And on top of that, she's an author. I mean, just an overall dope soul. And she's giving it up for the she rose, which y'all know I'm all about that. Okay. I'm so excited to introduce you guys to our new cousin. Hey, cousin.
Hey. How y'all doing?
How is your energy? How are you today?
I'm feeling pretty good. Despite me having to go back to work in person tomorrow, I'm a little paranoid because I never met these people in my new job. But other than that, I'm pretty good.
I love it. I love it. I love the positivity because I would be complaining and cussing, girl.
Oh,
But
I
I'm
did that
so
already. It's
excited.
past now. So,
I'm so excited to have you on the podcast today. So this is Erica with the C.
hmm yes,
So just
ma'am.
tell everybody a little bit about you wear so many hats, but tell everybody just a little bit about who you are, where you're from, and kind of what started you in your creative, or I guess what's the inspiration for your creative journey?
So I think for me, what first, I'm from DC, born and raised. I currently live in Maryland. Um, I work with children with disabilities, so I've always had like a creative side to me that I need to express in work that I do. And I also have a mentoring program. It's been down for a little bit, but hopefully with everything, it'll be started back up soon. Called Black Girls Fight Back. It's based in DC as well. But it's like mentoring young girls to prevent rape and molestation in the Black community, mostly because that's where my focus is. That's where my passion is, and I know that's where my purpose is.
Okay.
So my podcast kind of, like I said, you said I wear so many hats just because I needed different spaces for things. Because my podcast, I'm able to, be more free, be more open. It's an older crowd, and but it's also like talks about things that can, kind of prepare the girls from my mentoring program to kind of listen to that and kind of learn from that. Like I'll talk about, how to keep your kitty cute, or home ownership, or it can go anyway. It just depends on day-to-day things, relationships, sex, money, whatever it is. I like to talk about it. So that's how that started. And then the writing journey, I'm working on this book right now, will be my first book. And it's more so kind of intertwined with my program. It's kind of the program, but it's like the program on fire. It's like superheroes, and I'm a big, I guess, blurred, if you want to say. So I definitely love
Oh
comic books
yeah,
and
shout
things
out to
like
the
that.
bird.
So I love all that stuff. So I just was excited to kind of start that extra journey this year. And, COVID has really prepared me on this creative journey. So I'm just, happy to be here and happy to do what I love.
Yes, we stand the blurs, we stand all of that. We're here for it all. I love it. I know that it's a challenge when you have so many outlets, and I love that everything that you're doing has such a positive vibe behind it. It's all about freedom. It's all about expression and empowerment. I guess just initially, like growing up, was this something you always kind of saw yourself doing, or did this kind of just did it find you, or was it something you were always kind of interested in from early on?
I think no, I think so many things that I teach in my program, I feel like it wasn't taught. Like certain things I had to learn outside of my house, but then I think all the stories that I have are things that I think of. Like I remember one time I had this is my second year of my program, and we were sitting down because I always have a round table with older women who are going to be mentors to talk about these same issues that I'm going to talk about in the program, so we can kind of recap. And one of the girls, it always resonated with me every time, and she was talking about how she used to go to this guy, and he always gave her $1 for a soda, but then one day, he he asked her for a kiss on the cheek before the dollar,
Mm,
but she didn't go back, but someone else might have went back. So I feel like it wasn't talked about enough. And I
yeah.
was just so passionate about it, and then even when I started my program, my own family, some of my family members came out about their own issues with being molested or raped and things like that. So I think I've always been like the type of person that is very vocal, very blunt, in your face type of person when it comes to certain issues. Like certain things I don't let bother me, but when it comes to like protection of girls, I feel like we lack that in so many areas, and it's like everybody can't afford, karate for their kids or this and
Right.
this, and it's also a mental thing. So it kind of, I guess, it's always been something I was supposed to do, but I delayed myself so much and then finally had to push through. So maybe not when I was younger, but as I got older and I started to realize things, I started to step more into my purpose. So yeah, that's how it came to be.
I know that's right. That's real intentional and powerful because kind of like you said, like it was something that was always kind of there but not talked about. How difficult is that for you now, like in the stages that you are with your different creative outlets? How difficult is it now? Because you're right, the things that you're discussing, which again, I love the transparency, the freedom of it all. But is that difficult to sometimes attack those very kind of somewhat taboo issues or things that people kind of, may not, like you said, openly address? Is that difficult for you as the creative?
I think so. I'm definitely the type of person that pushes the envelopes. Like I want to talk about like, the under the rug, like, the I want to talk about those things. Like I have an episode that I'm working on. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm going to deliver because I don't want anybody to feel like they're going to be exposed. But like that predator in your family, like
Mm,
I want to know, like I want to see. You know what I mean? Because yeah, we could talk about a lot of things in the Black community, and I'm all for all of it. I'm there wherever you need me. I'll help whatever I can. But this particular issue, I feel like it's not as mainstream. It's just like, and especially it's like it's not mainstream because of course other things take higher priority. It
right,
shouldn't, but
right,
it's like it's like a triage when you go to the hospital. You having breathing issues and he's bleeding. The breathing issues may be more sufficient, or put you in a better position to be seen first. Doesn't mean her bleeding arm won't be tend to. It is you will be more priority. So I do worry about that. Don't get me wrong. There's a lot of organizations that help with these sort of things, but I don't think they really base on it. Like it's other factors with girls and things like that. So yeah, it is hard because I'll talk about in 1 minute episode about a sexual content, and then I'll be like, oh man, you know what I mean? But it's a free space, but it's also like I have to make sure that I realize what I'm branding. I think that's always uh what do you double-edged sword for me, because 1 minute I want to be that girl that's like, no, don't do that, don't do this, don't do this, as a mentor or a visionary in my program, but then I also have to make sure that I'm being real about my own owning my own sexuality, because I don't want the girls to realize that owning your sexuality, owning that it's very important in life.
right.
So I don't want to make them feel like they can't do it, but it's also how it's very thin line that I try to be separate, but sometimes it's hard.
Yeah, definitely. Trust me, I can fully understand that. I've definitely done some mentorship work as well. And it's like I have to remember they're not like it's not like they're my homegirl. So I have to be
Right.
cognizant of like what I'm saying and how I'm saying it. Even if I want to cuss when I'm saying it.
Hmm.
You definitely
Exactly.
gotta be mindful of all of that. But um anyone that takes what they've learned in life and pours it back into the community and specifically pours it back into our youth is someone that I will always champion and always admire. So I am super excited. So you got to tell me, what was the inspiration for the Super Shiro? I love that. Like, what inspired it and what's the ultimate goal? Like, what, I know that it's a graphic novel geared for about a, for and about a teen super hero, but what is your ultimate goal with it and what was the inspiration?
Oh man, I have always been a writer. I don't think writing a book and publishing it makes you an author. I think you are a writer. If you write and it's consistent, you're a writer. You
Mhm.
publish it, something does not make you. You know what I mean? So I've always had that in me. But um, I don't think that black, like I don't think black girls have enough role models. Like they have a lot of girls, and it's great, but it's like I just wanted them to see these girls, and I, full disclosure, even the book's not, but the book is geared towards fighting human trafficking. So,
Okay.
right. So when I say it's all in my purpose, it's all connected, So this book kind of came about, and I have so many books I did, but this is the main one I wanted to focus on because I feel like even now in these times, and it's probably why I was it took me so long to write this book. Like I took a long time off. I've been writing this book for like 5 years,
Wow.
and it's just mostly
That's how you know that
procrastination.
that's gonna be good though, girl. That means it's been like like marinating and simmering like a good piece of chicken overnight. You know how you put that soak that
Ah,
thing in there?
I know you're
Ooh,
talking
that's how
about.
you know it's gonna be good.
And I'm a very organized person, so it wasn't that I didn't have the outline and everything set up. It was just me getting in my own way. The self doubt, who's gonna read my book, this and this, and it just got the best of me. But I had to realize, and I think it was something I was in a group with someone, and they were like, these books are not for you. So stop being selfish, pretty much. Yeah, I know the story that I'm writing, but the superhero thing is like, it's what we need. I feel like, yeah, right now we have a lot of, black figures and things like that, black women figures that are out in the world, but it's never enough. Because I feel like sometimes we get a few and they're like, oh no, but you have this person. Yeah, but you guys have all of these people.
Right.
Like it's normalized for you. For us, it's not normalized. It's slim pickings, and
Absolutely.
despite how people feel about whoever is popular or not, it's still more important to focus on these dynamic girls because it's like they're teenagers. They're not doing anything out of the ordinary. Yes, they have special powers, but they go through everyday life. And I wanted to tackle so many things that aren't talked about in the black community. Like the book is way too much stuff packed in it. It's gonna be a lot. And it's it's interesting, but it's also like, very raw. So when a girl reads it, she's gonna resonate with one. And I think I could never pick one girl. I had to pick all of them because I wanted her to display all different types of women, all different types of girls, no matter where they are, and walks in life. But I also, even though I wanted to bring up these issues, I wanted to be positive because I feel like so many times we have so many things where it's so negative sometimes these books that we're reading, and I'm like, I don't want to read a book about trauma. I mean, I love them.
Right.
I love reading people's biography, but sometimes it's very devastating, and
Yeah.
that energy carries on when you're reading those type of books. So, the superhero thing is just women being badass, being dope, being themselves, being black, being resilient, being beautiful, being unapologetic, like just on fire, and girls realizing that they can do that now. They don't have to wait, and finding their own voice. So that's what really carries the book, and that whole idea of being a superhero. So,
Yeah, that's very important too, because especially at that age,
mhm.
man, you definitely need positive influences because everything in those teenage years be trying to just looking back, I'm like, woo, how did I make it out? Like,
Period. And some
it's
people
just
make
a
it and they forget they made it and they be hard on the girls. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Don't tell her to do something you probably wasn't able to do when you. It's easier to tell a child to, um, oh, don't take that stand up for yourself. Did you stand up for yourself?
lot. Right.
Because it seems easy, but when you actually in the face of five kids bullying, you don't want to be bullied, so you kind of blend in, not because you want to, but it's the majority. So sometimes you do things you don't want to do. So
And that's so true because like you said, I think a lot of us kind of lose sight of like, hey, we were there. And then we
Mm-hmm.
don't take into account that the things that they're experiencing and what we experience, of course, there are always going to be parallels and similarities, but some of the things that I've seen and heard come from that generation with the social media being incorporated and the music now,
Oh
like
my.
it's all so very totally different. And the way that they process things is a lot different than how we would do the way we communicated. It's like it's
Mhm.
all so very different, like even from dating, like your first time being interested in someone at that age, that's totally different now.
Oh wow, so different.
Like that's totally different, and I'm an adult and I'm still trying to figure it out, so it's like
Yeah.
I know that these babies are like, what is happening right now?
And the girls be telling me stories, and I be, you try to be non-biased because I know their parents, and
Right.
I'm like, well, I can't tell the parents,
Yeah.
but okay, the expectations are so, so different now.
Trust me,
Okay,
I
all
get it.
right. He did what?
I
He
get
said
it.
what to you? Okay, all right, baby. Okay, I know. Yep.
Listen,
Okay.
I understand, but the beauty in that is having someone like you in the spaces that you are and creating the art that you are, providing for our young Black girls that they can have something to relate to, they can have something to identify in, and kind of provide that hope and that optimism. I definitely have to ask though. I always want to know, for those that inspire others, who was your inspiration? Who was a shero for you?
Oh man, it's so many. I thought about it so deeply, and I love so many people, especially when it comes to art. To me, Angela Bassett is phenomenal woman to me. I've if I could meet anybody, it probably would be her. But I would have to say Asada. And I'm a Cancer. She's a Cancer. That's probably one reason too. Um,
Y'all do
but
stick
just
together.
her. Oh, you say you are too?
I say y'all stick together. The
Oh yeah.
Panthers.
We be pressed to find another Cancer. Ooh,
Right.
yay! And reading her book, like I read that book in 2 days, and her story, and I just couldn't. I remember it like it's a play. Like, and I really remember books that I read unless they're really, really good. And I'm like, oh man, I can visualize them like a movie, and I can tell you what part in this and this. And it was so many things about her. It was from when she went to jail and her decision to, try to procreate in jail with this man, having this little bit of time in her brain. It's okay, I want to birth a child. Even going through the pregnancy in the book, like the guy trying to rape her and her instantly thinking quickly to break his like all the things she went through, and she never gave up on her purpose.
Right.
Like, I think people don't realize that when you go through all these things, it is tiresome, but then when you are so embedded in what you're supposed to be doing, and and you've been not even told, you just know in your heart, in your head, or whatever space people hold where they get the information from, it's so important. So I feel like her is probably the biggest person, for me, and everyone's like, who's your favorite book, Asada? Like, it's not, no other book is going to ever top that book, because it was just so much packed in that book, and it made you feel like you know her. You don't know her. I ain't never met her, but it was just like, wow, this woman, like, I don't even have words. So
That's
it's
a
definitely
totally
her.
different level of dedication, resiliency, just true definition of a revolutionary. I've
Period. Yep.
I've definitely read that one, probably I think maybe like 3 or 4 times at this point. Like I
Yep.
feel you. I
It's such
had
a
to go
great
back to
book. Such
that
a great
Jane.
book.
Like
I'm like, oh man, really? I mean, I cried. It was just so many emotions. I was like, oh man.
yeah,
Whew, child, that book was
for
good.
sure. I always because every time I go back and read it, I always wonder like would they ever do like a film adaptation or something like that. So with the collection that you're creating, because I know that this is going to grow into a series
Yes.
and do all these great numbers and reach all these beautiful young Black girls, where do you see the brand with not only with your writing but with your podcast as well? Where do you see everything going in the next 5 to 10 years? What are your ultimate goals?
I think my ultimate goals is to get in production. I've actually never said that out loud to anyone.
Speaking,
Um,
honey, speaking.
like you said, I'm so obsessed with like the idea of, I feel like we don't have, like, we have movies for Black women, like you just mentioned, and it was something you just mentioned. It was so crazy because there are so many, I feel like Black women or people, and it's just like their stories aren't being told, they aren't being creative, and like I mentioned before, there's not really a lot of stories like staples about like really healthy um Black empowerment.
Right,
It's some malicious stuff going on, and you don't get me wrong, the world is what the world is, so you can't cut that out, and of course it's dramatic, people like that, but it's just like the realness of, I feel like producing something, and what is the name, Ava DuVernay, I always
yeah,
say her and Regina King is going to read my book one day and turn it into a movie. I've tweeted about it. I've said I know that's going to be what it is because I already declared. So when it happened, I'm just going to say,
yeah.
yep, I was expecting, you took longer than I thought, but
Right.
you're here now, and that's all that matters. Okay, so let's get this on the road. So, but I think, um overseas for sure, like connecting with other groups, because my program is more so going to probably geared towards just going in and having the program with the girls already set, because I don't want to rotate the wheel. If you already have these girls and you're already with this rapport, I can just come in and, what I'm saying, give my input or help where I can, because I'm, as far as the program go, I just want to help as many people as I can. It
Right.
doesn't really matter whether the credit is given or not given. And I think when you do this type of work, like you said, you're a mentor as well, and you've mentored and you've done outreach, things like that. When we're doing that type of stuff, we're not thinking about, oh, they better make sure they remember me. That type of work, you don't, you may or may not.
Right.
You just do it, and then you hope that if ever a day you come passes on, as many people as you helped and been a blessing to them, they remember you. But I think definitely series for the book. Um, some type of like comic book for the book. That was originally what it was gonna be. But I had already started writing before I got my illustrator. So that
Okay.
just came to be. And like I said, producing, maybe some like maybe some short stories or stuff like that. As far as the podcasting, um, hmm, the podcast is something that I know I need to like, more so as far as like a 5 to 10 year plan, really understand what it is that I'm like trying to do. Because even though my podcast talk about so many things, I need to find a space where I'm like, you know what, this is what I want to do. Because I feel like in podcasting, when you have things in order and it's repetition, people can relate more to you.
Right.
So
Yeah.
I think in 5 to 10 years, possibly a show of some sort, with that, but it will all kind of come together. So the brand in itself is Chic. And Chic, well, Chic Plus. Chic stands for She Helps Everyone Continuously.
Okay.
And that's the brand. So the podcast, Erica with a C, Nee Nee writes. I also have the Chic, like I said, the clothing things I'm doing and other things that I'm venturing to do. They all are gonna fit under this umbrella, of Chic, because I'm helping whoever. So, branding women together, bringing women together. And I think that's my ultimate thing. Not that I can't bring men, because I would love the idea of a Black boys fight back, maybe manifesting a man sometime in the future who would do that. so,
Right.
so yeah, that's probably pretty much, I definitely travel in different countries, meeting other leaders that aren't really, maybe not so far reach to social media, but stepping outside of that world, because I want more connections offline, because I have a lot online, but I want to make sure when COVID is over, I'm able to bridge those gaps so we're, connecting in person as well. So yeah.
Absolutely. Let everybody know where they can follow you, where they can tune in, how they can support you, all of those good things.
Okay, so I have for my writers page is at Nee Nee Writes. That's on Instagram. And on Facebook, it's Nee Nee Writes Books. That's for my writing page. For my podcast, The Crazy, The Wild, The Raw, The Real, The Blunt and Beautiful, is at Erica with the C podcast. That's on Instagram. And on Twitter, it's at Erica with the C pod. And that's it. You can click on the links in the bio and you will get all the what nows and what knows to where
I
I
love it.
am.
I love it. And of course, y'all know we'll put it in the show notes. But just before we let you go, because you are such an inspiration to so many of so many ages, from the people that tune into the pod to the young folks that you mentor and that you're writing for. Um, Tell me one piece of like solid advice that you would give for someone who is aspiring to live their life, like you said, blunt and beautifully, to kind of thrive in that whether they want to be Erica with the C on the mic, or they want to be Nee Nee with the pen.
I love that. Use that.
How would, I mean, just one, a piece of advice, or a mantra, or just inspirational quote or something that you would give them if they were listening right now, that you could tell them that you've learned through your journey, something to help them kind of push them forward, just in case they're doubting themselves or are unsure. What's a piece of advice that you would share?
Um, Loneliness does not last. Um, I feel like in this type of situation, understand that people will try to do things and depict things for you, but you have to make sure whatever you do suits you. Because I think me coming into this whole different person, um, who I am now, who I was, are two different people. So I think the biggest thing I can tell people is to just realize that even if you feel like you're a creator, you're this, you're that, whatever you're doing, and it doesn't resonate with your exact friends or your family or whatever, they don't get it, it's okay. Everybody's not going to get everything you do, and I think when you try and people don't, it discourages you. So
Right.
just don't, just keep doing what you're doing. Work in silence on social media or whatever way, but just make sure you realize and understand that loneliness is not last. Eventually you're going to find your tribe. Eventually you're going to find other people who have are hungry as you. And I'm telling you, when I started podcasting, I have been open to so many people and exposed to so many personalities, and I'm so joyous or happy. Even in Any Rights, so many people send me things and stuff, and I'm like, oh, okay. You don't
Mhm.
even know me. I don't have a picture of
Right.
this. You don't even know if I'm a real person or not.
Right, but you're definitely right. The tribe literally, once you put that energy, once you expose your frequency, it literally just draws those that need to be there,
Hmm.
that have the same desires, and they're vibrating on that same frequency as you. You're just drawn together, like you said. The tribe will come. I love that.
Yeah.
I love that. All in all, keep going, y'all. Don't give up.
Yeah.
Yes.
Don't
We
stop.
need
Get
the
it.
art
Get it.
that you have, the art that you sitting on. Like we need it. I love that, man. I love that. I love that. Thank you again so much for blessing us with your presence and sharing, and just coming on my platform, one podcaster to another. It's always love. I love what you're doing. You have my support. I completely champion everything that you got going on. This is Erica with a C. This is Nee Nee Rice with the pen.
I love all of that. Thank you so much. I have to use that. I'm like, oh wow.
Make sure that y'all are following and supporting all of her endeavors, because they're all positive. They're all pouring back into our communities and helping us
Man.
to, of course, get to that freedom, that liberation of unapologetic expression and just thriving in who we are across the board on all ages. And y'all know that's what we all about over here. So again, make sure that you are supporting her. We'll put all of her information in the show notes. And last but certainly not least, we are complete music lovers here. We are hip hop heads. We love
Oh,
music. We
wow.
love all of that. So I have to ask,
Oh, yes. I love it.
what is your favorite? And I make this hard for a reason because I want you to think. What is your absolute favorite song of all time? I mean, that song that's like, it don't matter what you got going on.
Oh,
You
my.
could be anywhere, you hear it, you just feel it in your bones. Like, what is your go-to song?
Oh, my. Just one?
Yeah. I love black folk. Everybody like, I gotta pick one song.
One? Like in life? Like, um, oh, man. Oh, man. Oh, this is tough. You know what? I know what it is. It's
Okay,
Nicki
what is
Minaj
it?
Moment for Life.
Say it again.
Nicki Minaj Moment for Life. I listen to that song probably every morning when I wake up. So
I feel that. I feel that.
yeah.
Fly with the stars in the skies. I feel
Yeah. I
that.
am
I feel
so
that.
I'll be rapping and everything in the mirror, like
Yeah.
yeah.
No, she did go off when the beat dropped.
Man,
Yeah,
what went
yeah, she did. She
crazy.
did.
Oh man, I love that song. That song will never get old to me. So yeah, probably that song.
Okay, okay. Definitely a vibe. Definitely super, super positive, super empowering. So I wouldn't expect nothing different. Coming how you
Right.
coming, I wouldn't
So
expect
predictable, Erica. Like,
nothing. But yes, thanks again so much for joining us. And thank you guys again for tuning in. This has been another episode of the official Conscious Kingdom podcast. This is the Freedom Podcast, where we are all about Black liberation because we are raising our frequency to get to our freedom. Be you. Thrive in that unapologetically. And just like our good sis just said, it might be lonely, but you will find your tribe and you will keep on going. Make
yes,
sure that
ma'am.
you are supporting Erica with the C, and you are supporting Conscious Kingdom. Make sure you follow us at Conscious Kingdom, shopconsciouskingdom.com, and you can check out all podcast things on our official podcast Instagram at Freedom Podcast. So, like we say each and every week, be true, be you, be conscious of who you are, be conscious of what you are and who you want to be mindful of all things that you consume. Your diet is more than just your food. Be mindful of all that you intake and really take some time to just pour into you. I thank y'all so much for tuning in. And make sure you come back around Grandmama and them house next week because we doing a whole new episode with another cousin. And y'all know the vibes. Y'all already know how we coming. Y'all have a good week. Peace.
Bye bye.